Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Last Call BBS, where as you can see here from the note on the handymate, I did it. I beat Hack Match. I absolutely would have just thrown up my hands in disgust and never played it again, if not for the fact that I was pretty sure that there was going to be text locked behind beating it, cause I need the text. I do not enjoy that game at all. I Playing it against another person might be different. The fourth enemy, there are only four enemies, so we were actually pretty close to the end. Last time I played it on video. The last enemy, their special move is they turn literally every tile that is visible on the board into blank chips, and I only won through basically a tremendous amount of blind luck. So, never doing that again. But the note says, nice job on beating Hack Match. I'll admit my skills have dropped away over the years. I used to be pretty good, though. In fact, I even got in some friendly rivalries at the game center. That was the kind of culture you could have back then, with this little group of people linked by their use of a single physical arcade game. You know, part of me does miss it. I have had that experience in real life. Of course, times change, and what was popular yesterday isn't what's popular tomorrow. Trends come and go. It happens with everything, but computer and video game fads seem especially ephemeral. You know, the tech moves very fast, and I certainly wouldn't want to give up, like, the kind of interconnectedness that we have today for that kind of thing being more common. It's easy to be nostalgic about the good parts of the things in the past, but, like, if those were the best ways, we'd probably still be, you know. Anyway. Also, let's talk about this. The Forbidden Path. I did solve the puzzle. I didn't actually put in the solution, but I figured out what it is. I got like 90% of the way there. I was trying way too hard to rely on the logical structures that we had figured out for like issuing orders to only part of the field at any given time. This is the actual answer. Just start here, expand down from the original thing to make the gross fatty bits, and then once that stuff's all settled, then turn the top part into gross meat. And all we have to do here, and we can walk through it in a little bit more detail than that. So, expand right, create a row across the right. Then, expand down, turn in any situation where there's a seed below another seed, turn the bottom seed into gross, and then in any situation where there's that below a seed, turn it into different gross. And then, only once this stuff is settled, do we start transforming the top part and then spreading out. And now, if we just fuse across here, bam, easy. It's a delicious meat slab, obviously. And I thought it would die down, but Tanner called me even more as he put together his game studio. He'd call late at night, not a care in the world about the time difference or the long distance charges from Los Angeles to Kansas City. I don't know what he saw in me that made him want to bounce ideas off me, but he did it constantly. I mean, it was fun. He had a way of catching you up in his creative energy. He said once he got Inner Sanctum off the ground, I had a standing invitation to move out there and direct a game. I'm not quite sure I believed it. I'm actually really, I'm weirdly invested in this story for, how little we know about the people involved. Just, uncovering whatever the deal is with the person who gave us this computer has become a real powerful motivation for me. I want to get back to that food chain thing as well. We're definitely going to do some of that this week, but I'm going to level with you. I just really want to play a lot more of the Nanograms dungeon game. That's my favorite one. Okay, so this is interesting. We definitely have to do so this is going to have to start on the right? And I guess maybe in one of the corners? No, definitely not in one of the corners. Right, because we're going to have to form this first. All right, let's start by expanding leftward. Now, I think we can use logic similar to the logic that I used on that last one. In any situation where there is a seed that has another seed to its right, turn that seed to bone. Oh, it expands out in kind of a funny way though, doesn't it? Well, you know, this is also salvageable. In any situation where there's a seed that has bone to its right, turn that shit into bone as well. There we go, problem solved. Then go ahead and just turn the bone into more like a vertebrae type bone. Okay, now seeds. So if I do seeds expand upward, yeah, this is what I was afraid of. We start to get some expansion before the bone stuff processes, because it's not running them in sequence. It's running them all at the same time, right? Like changing the ordering of stuff doesn't do anything at all. No, changing the ordering does actually matter. Huh. But it's not running things in order, because if it was running things in order... Right, like, why is there so much time? Okay. If I... Instead of this... Okay. Well, that's no good. Here, what we can do here, the order we can issue is... Actually, the way things are forming right now, there's only one step where... There's only one place in the whole thing where a cell has a seed, has a bone to the left of it. So if we just... specify this for beginning to morph into flesh, that should totally work, right? Wait, did I do this backwards? I did. Sorry, seed with bone to the left of it. What the seed should do is that. Yeah. And then, because there's only ever that one bit of flesh, we can have the flesh turn into this, and then... So I'm not 100% clear why it's working the way it's working, but I do know that we can take advantage of this to solve the problem. It's just that without an idea of why it's working the way it's working, obviously we have limited ability to control it in the future. Expand left from here. Yeah, like from there it's trivial. This is the part that's a little confusing to me. Why... I still don't understand the sequence in which things play out. I thought I had it as of the beginning of this puzzle. I was very confident about that. Oh, it's not a sequence. It runs all the instructions at the same time constantly. But that's clearly not the case. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird game for sure. Oh. Have we earned a cutscene? You must face the unspeakable if you wish to progress along this path. I feel like we've been doing a lot of facing the unspeakable. Like, I literally don't know how to describe the things that we're doing. You must work the forbidden art if you wish to progress along this path. Very strong Cobra Kai motto vibes here. You must eliminate your mind if you wish to progress along this path. Are you sure? Because it feels like I'm doing puzzles. And like the thing is, I need my mind for that. As long as I am... What am I doing? Oh, cool. Great. An eyeball, why don't we? Okay. Well, it feels like this is the... what a nightmare. Okay. Feels like this is the move, yes? How do we... Y'all, all right. How do we do this? How do we expand this thing in such a way? Okay, so yeah, it is the base skin. Oops, didn't mean to right click. It is the base skin thing that specializes into the eye, not the hairy skin thing. So the thing is, we need it to spread to the right. And we need it to fuse all the way along the spread to the right. But then we also have to have this unfused bits at the top and the bottom. I'm not 100% sure how to go about that. We also definitely, like, I will try out the circuit designer a little bit more. That might be a tomorrow task. Because, like, if I tell this thing to expand up or down... Alright, let's say we do that. Sorry, this is still the... This is the initial instruction. Let's do this. Tell the skin to expand up. So if I issue the order skin where there is a skin tile below you, grow hair. Oh, it's interesting that it propagates from the top left rather than propagating from the center point. Not what I was expecting. Obviously not that it would be better for it to... How are we going to get it to expand up and also down, but then stop? Or to have that part turn into... Okay, how about this? Let's finish the specialization all the way. Eyeball. Then, from eyeball, in any situation where there is an eyeball and there's nothing... Okay, all the eyeball can do is fuse. I was going to try to grow stuff. Oh, you know, we can use the metal as well. Yeah, interesting. Okay, hold on. So if that's the case, in situation where there is seed with metal to its right, expand upward. Yeah. Also downward. Okay. Then seed, expand to the right. Okay. But we don't have access to like a not instruction, right? So I can't do seed where there is not metal to the right become hairy. You sound like a, you know, when you're talking about this game, it's very difficult to... Oh, right, if I start doing transformations, it's going to screw up everything. We probably have to... Alright, so it's like go to flesh. And then... Or skin, rather. Sorry. Skin and flesh, not the same thing, obviously. I'm actually really enjoying sort of like puzzling out the UI of this thing. I'm finding that very, very pleasant. So, the thing is, if I also were to issue the order skin expand upward, yeah, that actually does an okay job, but I probably don't want to do that, right? What I want to do is like specialize to hair. Well, no, sorry. I do want to do this. But what I want to do first is skin where there is metal to the right, specialize to eye. Okay. Now, if I add a hairy skin, okay, I can't grow upward into normal skin. How are we gonna do this? Because I need to... Alright, let's kill this instruction. If we also have the skin stuff expand downward. And then we do skin where there is metal above you. Do that. Nope, sorry, that's not the... Here's the button. Oh, I screwed this up. Skin where there is metal above you, do that. I need a fuse here too. Because we had to close that. Okay, so skin where there is metal above you, do that. We should probably, let's just throw the fuse behind that. All right. Then also skin where there is metal below you. Become gross. Okay. And then skin where there is hairy skin to the left and right. Yeah, this is totally gonna work. Skin where there is hairy skin to the side, do the thing. Okay, I'm figuring it out, and I do feel like I actually understood every step of why that one worked. Yeah, so we gotta use the positional conditionals way more. You know, honestly, like this does manage to feel like a Zachtronics game while also feeling pretty distinct from a lot of the Zachtronics games, because like there are a lot of puzzle games about space and managing space and getting processes done in limited space in the Zachtronics catalog, right? And a lot of those games have some kind of logic in them, but it's not usually positional logic like this, where if there's one of these to your south, do this thing. Where I actually think that's like a really interesting way to build a game. I guess that's probably, you know, what the seed of this was. My guess is, and I don't know this for sure, my guess is that what we're seeing here is basically like seeds of game ideas, because they're closing up shop. We're seeing seeds of game ideas that they had and at least thought they might build out into full things. And then, you know, obviously ended up not doing that so much. Okay. This is interesting. So if I... out of curiosity here. If I build this down... And then I also give an instruction to build left. When I do a build up here, there's no phase where the seeds on the bottom have a blank space above them. Okay, that totally works. Now, an obvious problem with that is that I don't know how we're going to do this part. Because we can't fuse, right? So if I specialize you into that, and then specialize that into this, we're going to get, yeah. And if I give a fuse up or a fuse down order, it's going to affect this stuff. So how do I not? Okay, how about this? Let's get rid of those. And we'll do... I'm hoping these count as metal. Oh, right. That's also... Well, that's fine, though. And then also... seeds where to your right there's this stuff. Turn into this stuff. Oh, see, this is supposed to be turning too, but I think we're actually running out of time in the sim. Yeah, this set of instructions is so long. Oh, that's really interesting. Okay, what about if I put you here and we run an up as the first instruction. Then a build to the right. Yeah, that's not going to work, because what is my plan for being able to turn downward? But we do need to get the thing done. We only have sort of like 12 processor cycles to play with here. So we do need to get the thing done a little faster than the way I was trying to do it before. I'm just not really sure how to do that. Okay, what about seed where there is seed to your right, turn to this stuff. See, if I give a seed down order now, right, I need to not be fusing anymore, though. Well, this doesn't need to be... Hold on. This is a fuse up order, but it's an order given only to these things if there's metal below them. Okay, there we go. So now it's just these two try to fuse upward. Then this order makes it so... Here, this order makes it so only these things at the right edge don't transform. And then at this point we can give an everybody transforms order, and then we can further transform into this thing. I sort of get it. It's a little bit like this is the intuitive result of this set of actions to me, but that's only because I haven't really managed to integrate what we learned 2 puzzles ago about how sometimes the timing isn't intuitive to me. And I don't really know how to fix that. This works and that's cool, but there's definitely still something about the way the instructions are processed over time that I don't get, and that's totally gonna come back and bite me in the ass at some point, right? Inner Sanctum Entertainment already had their first project in the works, this weird biotechnological world that they wanted to develop into a cross-media property. You know, comics and a film tie-in and so on. Tanner hired a sci-fi writer to come up with an alien language that couldn't be pronounced by human mouths, and got some Hollywood heavy hitter to do concept designs. And there were even bigger and better projects on the horizon, too. Big name film directors working on games, big name actors voicing them, and so on. He had a lot of plans like that. Big plans. Big plans with a very sort of old mindset, though. Like, forgive me, but I think it might be the case that people who are good at making movies are not necessarily good at making video games. And in fact, a lot of video games, a lot of people who didn't really have movie careers and only had video game careers are people who fall into that description, where they would have been much better off as people working in the film industry. Okay, so there was an update today that included some stuff about allowing Zachtronics Connect to dial into servers that people can set up. And I sort of glossed over it. I do want to take a look at it, but basically it seems like the Zachtronics team is trying to allow people to set up their own Last Call BBS servers for you to connect to get games that they've designed for the Sawayama Powerlands. That's really cool in theory. I don't know how it's going to be executed, really. So, hold on. Let's take a look at this. So, Steed Force Hobby Studio, Pure Motives. I bet there's another note for building the other models. That's something I won't make you sit through me doing. I'll do that off camera. We'll get the text on camera. For now, what we're going to do is I'm going to play Dungeons and Diagrams for half an hour because I have not touched this game in like a week. You know, my partner came up and stayed with me, and so we took a week off from this. And I like it very much, and I want to play it some more. So hopefully that's cool with everybody. If you do not want to see Dungeons and Diagrams time, just come back next time. It'll be good. All right, so first of all, boom. I did see that they... the Zachtronics people made an update so that some of this stuff behaves a little bit more intuitively for me. Now, if we, like in this situation, if I start marking things as empty and drag across the row, it won't delete all the walls we've placed to mark them as empty as well, which I really appreciate. Okay. So what else do we know here? Only one of these is a wall. Okay, we know some stuff about the treasure rooms, right? We know this is empty. Every legal treasure room is going to have that tile open. This one... So what? This tile can't be open. Because if it was... Well, no, this tile totally can be open. This tile can't be part of the treasure room. But if the treasure room wall's here, this could potentially be open. But so if this tile is not part of the treasure room, then we know this is the furthest south the treasure room can go, which at least tells us that this is part of the treasure room. And I guess we know there have to be walls in here somewhere. But without knowing where they are, that doesn't necessarily give us a lot of information. Well, okay. So we know that this is definitely not the right treasure room, which means that these 4 columns are valid, which means that these spaces are definitely part of the treasure room, and then that's true over here as well. That's all stuff we actually know. And actually, I guess we knew this column wasn't part of the treasure room anyway, because it does have 6 walls in it. So I guess this is also treasure room. And if that's the case, if the treasure room is in this column, then the only open space in the column is the treasure room. So we know these are all walls, which means we know this, which actually gives us a fair amount of information here. This has to be walled. Can't be a dead end. Okay, so we know all of that. That's fun. I guess we know all of this too. So this has to be the entrance to the treasure room, right? Yeah, that is totally the case. The 6 walls in this area must be arrayed that way. So is it still possible for this to be the treasure room? No, because then it would have an opening. Yeah, this column must be part of the treasure room. And if that's the case, and this is the opening, then those have to be walls. And so it's either this and this are walls, or this and this are walls. Right, one of these treasure rooms is the top 3 columns, or the top 3 rows, and the other one is the second, third, and fourth rows. Oh, actually, I guess we know this has to be a wall, which completely solves it. Yeah, because otherwise there would have been a 2x2 at the mouth of the treasure room. The corridor of vibes. You might think that that's not what that says, but really think about it. Like, golems just vibe all the time. It's the only thing they know how to do. Okay, so we know this treasure room contains at least these spaces. And in fact, we know both of these treasure rooms are in the top 3 rows, because this row has just way too many wall tiles in it. Also, we know that. It is likely that this treasure room is in these 3 columns, just given the number of walls, but likely is insufficient. I guess we know this, and as such that, which means we know that those are all walls. Okay. I guess we know this has to be open, and this has to be open for these skeletons not to be completely trapped, which does give us a tremendous amount of information. Okay. So... Right, 2 of these spaces are walls, which means that the wall necessarily cuts into the corner here, which means this is, in fact, the treasure room. Okay, and if it's going to work like this, this is the only place where that entrance can be. This is a very similar puzzle. The twin cities of the dead are also pretty vibey, it turns out. Yeah, those are remarkably similar. Ooh, I like these little satyr guys. These are cool. I guess we know that. Oh, we know this as well. So we've been given a fair amount of information about this treasure room. Right, it's definitely these 3 columns, because here's the 6, and that means it's these 3 rows as well. That was fully the wrong mouse button. Oops. Low mousing accuracy. Okay. We do know that, sorry. Alright, so these have to be walled off then. This little dude is only accessible from one direction. I guess actually we know that's open, so all of this is necessarily true. This is the only way this hallway can be laid out to avoid creating a dead end at the left edge of it. And then... okay, I guess we know that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, in order to not create a dead end, like a wall being here would make this a dead end, so that's unacceptable. So those walls have to be there, and that means this is also a wall. Doesn't look like much of a glade to me, but you know, satyrs love glades. Anywhere satyrs are hanging out, they're gonna call it a glade, I think, so that's probably what that's about. Not a treasure room to be had, huh? Okay, only one wall in this column means that the open side for the big monster is one of these. It also means that can't be an opening. Sorry, that's the wrong, but there we go. I mean, rather, it means this can't be a wall, because one of these two has to be the wall. So that does give us these as well. Which I guess completes this one. That must also be true. These must also be true. Okay. There's only a wall here or here. First of all, suggesting, and that's true on both of these places, right? There can't be... well... these could both be open, or one of them could be closed. If they're both open, one of these two could still be a wall. Yeah, I don't think we can... quite make that assumption yet. I know this is open, which I guess gives me the position of the walls in that row, which gives us something. So we can close out that column, which means this is open. There's only one more wall in this column, and it's going to have to be adjacent to this guy, so we know this is also an open space. One of these two is a wall, but the other one... no, they both could be. Yeah. They both totally could be. So we know that's open too, which actually means we know all of that. And thus all of that. Getting closer and closer to pinning down all of the positions here. So it could be these four in the bottom row. And then like here and here. Okay, I guess... could these be right? If the hallway comes in, these are both walls. Yeah, actually those totally could be right. Okay. Let's try a quick elimination test there. Okay, what else do we know? One of these two is a wall. One of these two is a wall. That doesn't really give us anything to go on in these two rows, unfortunately. Stupid demon Duke of Avarice. Oh, okay. Sorry. Here's something. All of this has to be wall because there's no way for these tiles to connect to the interior hallway. And I think that actually solves the whole thing for us. we know these are open. Okay, so one of these two is a wall, but it actually could be either one. That's true in a bunch of places. Oh, we know this is a wall, which gives us more of the shape. There we go. This feels like a pretty effective dungeon design. Like most of the monsters are in places where they could see you just trying to walk through. Nobody sneaking past except like a first edition elf. Alright, so this... Okay. Here's a column that doesn't contain any treasure room, which means those are definitely treasure room tiles. There's only one wall here. Which is interesting. So it has to be adjacent to this guy, which means that's open and that is a wall. It also means that's a wall. And I guess this does not have to be a wall. No, never mind. I was about to say something very silly. So one of these two is a wall, which means that one definitely isn't a wall. And if that's the case, this must be a wall to avoid creating a 2x2 space, which tells us all of that stuff, which means this also has to be a wall to avoid creating a 2x2. And there you go. That's a couple of columns. Sorted that out fairly quickly. Here, one of these two is a wall, and then these three are walls. Sort of the same deduction, but in the other direction, which tells us that these tiles are definitely part of the treasure room. And in fact, the position of this locks up that whole row, because there can't be more than one open tile adjacent to a treasure room. I guess those are also closed. So that has to be open. This has to be open to avoid dead ending. Nope, that's not what I... There we go. Oh, that's... Sorry. That has to just be sitting open. One of these two is open, and it can't be this one, obviously. So, okay, we know that. Then I guess we know this, and also this. You know, the hallway can be circuitous. It can loop and run into itself. It just has to be solid. So, treasure rooms have to be walled off from one another. Yeah, all of those tiles are necessarily treasure room. I guess these are all open as well in their own ways. So there's room for exactly one of the treasure rooms to be in the top row. This is closed, right? This space here? Trying to think of a design. There is no design for the treasure room that would allow this to be the opening. We know that. Oh, I guess also there was the the last two tiles in the rows, simplifying things considerably. Oh, I guess we know this. We've drawn an open space next to... I'm not 100% sure what those are supposed to be. They could be knolls, I guess. But in any case, that tells us that this tile is part of the treasure room, which certainly finishes drawing it. Obviously, that's got to be wall to prevent the 2x2. Interesting that these are open. I guess we know that's a wall. Okay, there's only one wall in this row. And given the position of the monsters, does it have to be here? It does, right? And then they're open on the opposite sides. Because they each need to have walls on two sides. I think this is necessarily true. Which gives me that, which gives me that. So this is the rest of this treasure room. This actually could be open. That could be the entrance. I guess we know this and that and that and that. And indeed, that is the entrance. That is the way you get in there. Technically, that all fits within the game rules. So we know this treasure room is in there. That's a mimic, I just realized. I was fully prepared to try to figure out the treasure room space around it. That's very cute. That's fun. So see, we know it can't extend into this column. And we know, so if that's true, it also can't be here. It can't be in this row because that would lead to the monster being directly adjacent. So we also know that this row must be involved in it. It's either top 3 or 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Oh, I guess we know this isn't. There aren't 3 walls in the row over here. This top row, so this couldn't be closed off, so it must be the top of the treasure room then. We know actually nothing. We have no information at all about how the hallway is built here, so it is maybe a little dangerous to start walling things off. How to proceed? Okay, well, here's an interesting thing. This column only has 1 wall tile in it. So we know that the opening for at least one of the treasure rooms, we know that the opening for one of the treasure rooms is in this column. But since there are 2 treasure rooms in this column, does that actually give me anything I can work with? I think the answer might be no. And it's theoretically possible for this to be an entrance, depending on the position of this room. I guess if this room is like, even if it's up against the wall, no, this tile actually can't still be an entrance. Okay, yeah, I feel that feels solid. So 2 wall tiles in this, yeah, I don't know what to make of that. There really just aren't that many. There aren't that many wall tiles in total on this map. So with there only being 2 wall tiles in this column, one of them must be this, right? Because it is necessarily the case that every open tile in this column is part of a treasure room. So okay, we do know that. And I guess for the same reason in this column area as in this row area, it's not really possible for that to be the opening, because the hallway would have to run up between the treasure rooms. Now here, oh, I guess because this row only has 2 walls in it, we know this row can't block the treasure room, so that tells us that these are also walls. One of these 2 spaces is a wall, but the other one is not, so one of these rooms is exited that way. But until we have more information on that, it is kind of hard to use it to close anything else off. Alright, so we know this treasure room exists in this column because there's not enough blocks. We know it exists in this column because there's not enough walls in this column to block it off. Which definitely gives me that, and actually gives me both of those as well. I mean, it sure would be easy for the other tiles here to be those ones. Well, okay, I guess here's the thing we know. There are 5 wall tiles in this row. This can't be a wall, because if this is a wall, then we have a treasure room that is only enterable from another treasure room, which means, since that other treasure room can also only have 1 opening, that those treasure rooms are completely sequestered from the hallway, or that this one has 2 openings. So, I think that tells us these 2 things. And I guess also that this is a wall to complete the column. Then, I guess this is also necessarily open. This could be closed because it could be the case that the path wraps around in the open space. But I guess no. We know that, again, 2 wall column tells us that the treasure room is in fact here. Okay. Alright. What is next? There is exactly 1 more open space in this column, and it has to occur in one of these 3 spaces. This is a wall for sure, which means this is open, which means that's the entrance to the treasure room, so we close that off. What else do we know? One of these 2 spaces is a wall. I guess actually we know it's not this one, because otherwise we're breaking the hallway. That gives us this. All of these must be open, which means... Okay, we have to put the wall there to avoid creating dead ends. And then... So this one's definitely wall. Does it matter? I guess actually we know this is wall too, because... Yeah, there we go. There we go. I think we got time for like 1 more. We can complete another row here. Ooh, the skittering gallery. These guys are like Thrycrene, kind of? Not 100%, but there are similarities. Okay, only 1 wall in this column means it has to be here. Right, because if it's at one of the edges, then you have one of the enemies having too many open spaces adjacent to it. Okay, we also know that that is open. So... this is open, because you have to be able to get out of here. This must be a wall to avoid dead ends, and so there's only one way. There's only one of these 3 tiles is open, but I guess it really could be any of them, at least at the moment. One of these 2 is open. I guess, no, we don't know that. No, we totally do. Because it's the monster plus 1 open space in this column, And if the open space is anywhere else, it creates a dead end. So one of these two is open, which means all 5 of those are closed. Yeah. Well, I guess also we know this isn't open, because if this was open, all the rest of the wall, all the tiles here would have to be walls, which means this would either be a dead end or it'd be part of a 2x2. So we know that is wall. I don't think we know yet about this area. Oh, I guess we know this, because this row can only accommodate 2 more walls. There has to be an opening, and it can't be here if this is a wall, for obvious reasons. So the 2 walls cannot be here and here. One of these 2 spaces is open, which tells us that. It also tells us that this space is necessarily a wall, and as such, these things, which then tells us this. You need that space to be open so that the hallway is pathable. Yeah, okay. That's something. We're getting somewhere. So, only one more open tile on this row. It cannot be this one. I guess it has to be this one. Because if this one was a wall, obviously, you're breaking stuff. So do we know for a fact that these must connect here? I think the answer to that is no. They could just come up here and connect. This could be the position of the last wall, which, yeah, seems consistent with everything else we're seeing here. There's only one more block in this column. We know it's not here because that would create a dead end. And if this is open, then this is necessarily... Well, actually... I was going to say this is also necessarily open, but if this is open, then the wall goes there and we have a dead end. So actually... Yeah, this being open does not mean this has to be open because... This could be in the corner of a turn, which it apparently is. So that's got to be open as well, meaning that is a wall, meaning that is open. There we go. Life of a solo dev. The dev of Dungeons and Dragons, Dungeons and Diagrams, sorry, legally distinct, was a middle-aged guy named Ilka who lived in this tiny village in the middle of nowhere. I told him we all liked his game and maybe he could find a publisher for it so he could actually earn some money. I didn't think about it again until a while later when I came across a new version of Dungeons and Diagrams on the boards with better art and sound. Also, it was cracked. I guess his new publisher put copy protection on it. I was glad to see Ilka had struck a deal, but unfortunately it turned out the folks he'd signed with weren't exactly above board. Oh, this story has twists. So yeah, periodic progress linked to ongoing narrative. This is very compelling for me. This formula works very well for me. Almost every part of me wants to do another puzzle. I'm going to call it there. One line of puzzles per episode is plenty. That is going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I was just kind of easing myself back in and especially calming myself down after what you must understand was a lot of very frustrating hack match. I am no good at that game, like at all. But now that I've sort of calmed myself, mollified myself with fantasy monsters and nanograms, I think we're ready to get back into the trickier stuff. So when you come back next time tomorrow, it's going to be 20th century food court, and I'm going to take an actual run at that circuit game, which I feel like I spent 90 seconds looking at and was like, I'll come back to this later. We're going to figure it out. We're going to design some circuits. It just seems like a very Zachtronics thing to do, doesn't it? And we'll see you then.